You're listening to Crystal and Emily on Love Your Shelf, the best librarian podcast in the extensive and highly competitive field of librarian podcasts. Hello.
Hello.
We are here with Love Your Shelf for episode 6.
Nice.
And we're still kind of coming off of a backlog. We'll call it a backlog, and not that we just weren't doing any of it.
Not laziness or...
Just a slight backlog. So I have a lot of things to talk about today.
Yeah.
And I've just been burning the midnight oil, apparently.
Oh, my gosh.
I've got books galore. I don't even know if we'll have time to talk about the stuff I've watched, but...
I don't know when you sleep. Like, you say that you sleep. I know that you don't need much sleep, but you say you sleep. I don't know when you do.
I don't either, because I'm always tired. So
it doesn't feel like it's adding up.
Yeah, exactly. I should probably sleep more than I do.
No. Do it for the podcast.
That's all it's for. So I was very excited about a new book that came out by Kevin Wilson. And Kevin Wilson's the author of what's going to be our big read book for the year. And it's called Now Is Not the Time to Panic. And it is very much in the same vein.
Great.
It's a great book.
Cool.
I don't want to go into it too much, but we do have it. If not yet, no, it's coming out soon.
Okay.
So we will be getting it for the library, but it's coming out. I was very pleased to be able to get a really early copy of it.
Yeah.
And it's both just like the big read book, which the name of it is.
Oh, I didn't know if you were like quizzing me. It's called Nothing to See Here.
I was quizzing you. It wasn't anything going on with my brain, but Nothing to See Here. So it's touching and funny in the same way. Dealing with different times in people's lives.
Yeah.
And so
I like his sort of informality. I like that. I feel like his titles and sort of the way I'm an informal person.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I appreciate the chillness. That's what an informal person says.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he writes also from the perspective of female characters.
And
that's
does
the
it
same
well.
in this book too.
And that's so true. I hadn't even
you don't actually. I was
stopped
thinking
and
about
thought
this.
about that, and I usually do think about that. And so the fact that I hadn't,
you don't necessarily see a lot of that, especially over and over.
Yeah, true.
So
I could never write from the perspective of a man. I don't think I could anyway.
I don't think it would be successful for me to do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel
probably
like
could.
Mine would end up being just kind of sarcastic, like, I woke up and did whatever I wanted.
And then I explained the most simple of things to every person that spoke to me all day. I don't know why they don't get all of this. Yeah.
Exactly. So, good job, Kevin Wilson.
Yeah, we'll stick with that. And then, as I do, I switched gears to some nonfiction and some more serious stuff. There is a new book out called Overdue, Reckoning with the Public Library by Amanda Oliver. So, of course, we're going to get that book and we're gonna read it. And this one I am going to talk a little bit about, because I'm not spoiling anything. So this person went to school. It's more of a memoir than... It feels like she wrote a memoir about herself in general. Okay. And then an editor said, you talk about the library in here. This is a book about libraries. And so...
There was a quick little pivot.
Yeah, and not even really a pivot, just like that's what we're going to call it. But it's still a memoir. So
that's funny.
And I'm not being reactionary about this because it's unfavorable about libraries or has issues with many things about libraries. So she sort of fell into librarianship, became a school librarian, and loved it, but she was in Washington, D.C., and it was a very rough area. And ultimately, so obviously in the title, she's not talking about school libraries, she's talking about public libraries.
Yeah.
So after like 6 or 7 years in a school library, she goes and works for a public library for 9 whole months. Yeah. And then can't hack it and doesn't like it, and now she's written a book about it. And
babe, don't do that.
For many reasons.
So many reasons.
So it was funny to me because she, people out there maybe don't know, but librarians know. We share a lot of common experiences. And so she seems to think that she's like given this dirt about how things really are in public libraries, or that she's giving this like shocking detail.
But it's like we all know.
We all know. It's all things that, yes, maybe it should be shocking, or maybe there's things that definitely there are things that need to be addressed, and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But this is I think that it was more of an error in thinking that is what the job is, or that is what the place is these
not
problems.
that like everyone's okay with it.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
Not that librarians are tirelessly fighting, I haven't read the book, but potentially multiple things she's talking about, or have problems with some of the issues she's talking about.
Yes. And so some of those are, I don't mean to be coy about it. The issues are that we do deal with people who are unhoused and who have a lack of mental health care, because those services are lacking in our country, and that is something that is just a fact. And then libraries pick up the slack on that. And
we're one of the few places where anyone in the public, in the community, can.
It's pretty much the only place.
Yeah.
You can't really think of another one.
Yeah.
It's indoors.
Yeah, true.
So there was that. So at first I was like, oh, I want to hear, I'm going along with it. But then more and more it just became like, you don't even know enough.
Listen here, Miss Briss.
Yeah. Let's. And then she was citing a lot of, sort of standard things. It wasn't a hard-hitting report by any means. And I don't know, it fell short for me. It kind of tried to mirror the style of like Susan Orlean, who also recently wrote a book about public libraries a couple years ago that was great. And Mary Roach, and they interweave their experiences with historical stuff. She's really not doing that. It was very disjointed, and it just did feel like experience. She was talking about her experience, and then somebody said, hey, stick in some actual history here, and we'll call this a public library, expose or something. Yeah. And so,
I don't like that.
I think that people should, if people are not familiar with those issues, as somebody, obviously we are very much so, then sure, take a gander at that. But I would recommend the public library, or the library book by Susan Orlean, way before this one. Or even watching the movie The Public, which is about, it's a fictional account of the sort of failure of public support and services for people who don't have homes and who are mentally ill. And that came out just 3 or 4 years ago, too.
Right.
So there's people talking about it, and obviously... and it is a major issue, particularly for librarians. Yeah. But, I'm going to pass on this one.
Shame.
I know. So then I went to In Defense of Witches. The Legacy of the Witch Hunts and Why Women Are Still on Trial by Mona Chollet. I thought this was better. Yeah. It's good. Okay. It does, she's a French feminist, the writer, and so she's talking about the witches as symbols of women's sort of rebellion from the names and the roles and stuff that were placed upon them. And so she does sort of a similar kind of thing where she's weaving, or she's not weaving her personal story, but she is weaving like
her personal witch story.
Cool. She gives all of her recipes for everything. But no, she weaves the sort of history of witches with this interpretation of why that was read that way, why they were presented that way.
Cool.
And it's very good. And it's like a scholarly academic sort of approach to it. So there are 3 different kinds of women who were typically, accused of witchcraft.
I already know I would have been burned at the stake.
Right. So of course, anybody who's independent, a woman who's independent, a woman who's childless, and then an elderly woman, and I fit all 3 categories.
Are you elderly?
Close enough. I mean, in the 1500s,
I would be. Yeah, true. I guess so. I would be elderly.
Yeah, I would not make it out of that village. I don't think. But anyway, so I would definitely recommend it. It's coming out soon.
Yeah. I love it. That's great.
And then while I was reading this, I was actually in the coffee shop and with my sister, and she looked over at a friend of ours was sitting at a nearby table, and he was reading. And she asked him what it was, and he held up Women and Other Monsters, Building a New Mythology, and by Jess Zimmerman.
That's great.
Yeah. And so this one is it's a cultural analysis of Greek mythology, and then the female monsters that you find there. And then, so it's like Medusa and the Harpies and the Sphinx. And then looks at all of these, characters individually.
Cool.
And so I haven't finished that, but I did go pick it up because that looked like a dandy read.
Yeah, a dandy read. Are you far enough in to get a feel? Like, are you liking it so far?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's not as scholarly. So it's a little more approachable maybe than some of the other stuff.
My jam.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people are probably there too. And then I had a couple of books that have been on my list by an author, Maggie Nelson, that I've had recommended to me a couple of times, and so I finally picked them up. The first one is called On Freedom, 4 Songs of Care and Constraint. And it really looks at the notion of freedom, both how people use it, what it actually means or doesn't mean, and then and it's like a whole cultural critical analysis, basically, using that term to examine everything from art to climate crisis and stuff like that. She's a great writer, and it's a very, very thoughtful book.
Neat.
Let's see. And she refers to that, she refers to an essay called Paranoid Reading and Reparative Reading, or You're So Paranoid You Probably Think This Essay Is About You, by Eve Sedgwick, which you can find online. Just if you want to read that essay, you can just search that title, and there's PDFs of it out there.
Sweet.
But very similar kind of approach, and worthy if you're into the what Maggie Nelson was writing.
Cool.
And then she had an earlier book from maybe 10, 15 years ago called The Argonauts. And in it, this one is more of a memoir. It's a personal story about her and her partner, who is the artist Harry Dodge. And I didn't know much about it, but it's about Harry is trans, and so it's about their story of creating a family and going through when the was it Prop 8 in California was overturned, and or whichever way that was. I guess it was passed, which then made their union, illegal, that kind of thing. So it's very much more personal about her and about, how society addresses them.
Yeah.
And so it's another good one, definitely. Yeah. And she has several other books, which I'll be diving into soon because I really enjoyed both of them.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And let's see. I think I'll save it. Oh, well, there's a couple of them that I not pleased with or not excited by, and I had a couple of these have had not only great reviews, but like people just really like bestsellers, but also critically acclaimed.
And you're just like, I don't get it. Yeah. Man.
So, one of those, and I wanted to like it, was The Personal Librarian by Marie Benedict. And it's a fictionalization of a real person who, oh my gosh, her name was Belle DeCanto, something fabulous sounding. But she was the personal librarian of J.P. Morgan at the turn of the last century.
Interesting.
And she was Black, but passed as white.
Oh.
And so I thought, man, this seems like so much, potential for that could be a great story. And it was boring.
Oh, no.
I'm going to try it. I was listening to it as an audio. And sometimes those, it's hard to get into.
It kind of sets a tone that you can't get out of. And yeah.
So I may just try and read it and see if it's better. Because I am interested in the story.
You read it real excited, like, in your head.
Just really fast.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Play some exciting music in the background.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's a shame. I'm curious.
I was really bummed out about that. And then another book came out by an author that I really like, Jennifer Egan. So I say, well, every time something comes out by her, I'll read it. It's one of those. Because there were a couple of books of hers that I just really, really liked.
Yeah.
The Keep is one.
Okay.
Welcome to the Goon Squad is another one. But not all of them are great, but I'll always read whatever she's got coming out. And the Candy House is the new one. And it's got a little techno side to it. And there's, I'm very intrigued. I'm only halfway through it. Obviously, I'm putting down a lot of things that I'm halfway through with lately. But this one, I'm going to finish it like tonight, I'm sure.
Okay.
And so...
give us a full report.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah, because I do want to talk about it, but
okay.
I haven't, I can't fully say anything about it just yet.
Okay.
And so then I've watched a few things, and I think I mentioned last time that I've kind of been catching up on stuff that I'm watching new seasons of it.
Right.
So not everything is that, but I will kind of start with those. Oh, before I do that, actually, I do want to mention that I came across 2 short stories recently by 2 of my favorite authors who've also been big read authors. And they were both really, really great, so I want to mention them.
Okay.
So Madeline Miller, who wrote Circe, wrote a little, it's not even a novella, but it's kind of published or printed as a novella called Galatea. And it's kind of, Galatea is a mythical character, but it's really fascinating. It's basically this sculptor sculpts her into life. So he creates this sculpture that he's in love with, and then he asks the gods to give her life, but she's still kind of
not squirrel wifey.
No. Oh, no, not the squirrel wife. I was just telling somebody about the squirrel wife a couple days ago. It's like, you just have to see it. I can't really describe it.
I know, it's true.
Yikes. But no, it's much darker than that, even though that was weird.
That was children's book weird.
Yes, yeah exactly. But basically, he wants her to be a statue and not have a mind of her own and a voice of her own and all of that kind of thing.
Okay, gross.
Yeah. And so she's, plotting how to get away. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Go, girl.
Very good. It's
I like that.
It is a short story, so it's quick.
Cool, yeah.
And then Emily St. John Mandel, who wrote
Station
another
11.
quiz, Station 11.
Another quiz. My boss just quizzes me like this throughout the day.
All day, yeah. And so she had a short story in a collection, which I also recommend the whole collection, but it's called Future Tense Fiction in Stories of Tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And she had a short story called Mr. Thursday. And it kind of takes place in the same universe as her latest book, the latest novel that she wrote. Well, the last two, I guess. The Glass Hotel.
And what was the new one? I don't know this one.
You failed the quiz. I can't remember the name of it either. But her most recent novel, which I have talked about a year before.
You liked it.
I loved it, and the title escapes me. But yeah, from that same
time,
universe.
World. Yeah.
And it's really good.
Cool.
Yeah. So we don't talk about short stories much. You don't actually.
I don't read a lot. I really don't read them very much. Yeah. At all. I'm gonna go ahead
used
and
to
say
be
that.
much more of a respected art form than it is now, I think.
Yeah.
Which is funny when you think that everybody talks about, people have such a short attention span, but nobody
all these people
writes
out writing novels.
Yeah. Novels just get longer and longer.
Right.
Some of them are outrageous.
How?
Donna Tartt, I'm looking at you.
Donna Tartt. And who wrote Outlander? Good Lord.
Oh, Diana Gabaldon.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Just out of hand. They need somebody to help them edit.
I just don't,
Not that, in some cases you're like, I just love this world so much, I just want to read 1,000 pages.
Sure. But, talking about Donna Tartt,
George R. R. Martin and...
Yeah.
Yeah, just put down the pen. Or stop typing for a minute.
Yeah.
But, anyway, so, short stories, thumbs up.
Yeah.
And so, so speaking of Outlander... Mm-hmm. Season 6 of Outlander is out, and so I've been catching up on that. And it kind of, to sum it up, somebody who's only kind of started, a friend of mine who's just sort of started reading those, was had gotten to maybe the 5th novel or something. But in the stories, if you're not familiar, the characters are in Scotland and other places in Europe.
Right.
But then they come over to the United States before it's the United States, before, right before the American Revolution. And so I think by the 5th book they're already over into the colonies. And so she had gotten to that, and she was like, "Oh, there's 9 books now. What are they doing there?" They're like, "They're still there." The American Revolution hasn't happened yet, and she was dumbfounded. Like, what?
How?
There's another 4,000 pages before anything even happened.
I had started watching the series, and I do think I want to go back. I'm torn because I want to go back and read the books. I really do. But I was enjoying the series, and it's funny again that I brought that up because I tried to get back into it yesterday. And I thought I had gotten well into the 2nd season. I was only episode 13 of the 1st season, and so much had happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can only imagine.
It grinds to a halt by the later.
Okay.
I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, I would even go so far as to say I'm a fan.
Yeah, but just different.
When the books come out, even though it's only every 5 years or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because she's writing 10 million pages.
I was about to say it. It takes me about that long to read one of those books.
But, it's just, it is kind of like, after reading the books and you've gotten up to a certain point, still, at the end of the most recent book that just came out, nothing else, we're not a free nation yet at this point. But
that's it. Well, that's interesting.
Then you're going back and watching the show, and it's like, oh gosh, we're back on the ridge, whatever where they are, and there's things are happening. There's drama.
Yeah,
but it is
I
like
know
a
they
little
do.
lack of forward momentum.
Yeah, and maybe that's what I mean. That's maybe why I thought I was further along, because anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm gonna still watch it. I'm gonna still read it.
Same. And that's why I'm kind of torn. Do I want to full steam ahead binge this show, or full steam ahead take 20 years of my life and binge the books?
It's a conundrum.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, but it's
anyway,
out there.
it is fun.
And then there's another show that's got a season 5, Better Call Saul. And I loved the show that this was a spinoff from another quiz.
Breaking Bad.
Jeez.
And
Very
I haven't
good.
even seen all of Breaking Bad, and I've not seen Better Call Saul at all.
Well, Breaking Bad is great.
Yeah.
It was one of those that, and I do this frequently, where people talk about, oh, this is so good, and then I watched one episode of it and I was not intrigued at all.
Yeah.
But then later, down the line, after everybody's had already
After it's
watched
calmed
it all,
down, yeah.
I picked it up again, and it's like, oh, okay,
It's so
this is
good.
really great.
Yeah.
Really got caught into it, and then Better Call Saul takes one of those characters, and then and it's about to have season 6, I think.
Okay.
But for one thing, I watched season 1 through 3, binged it, then had to wait to watch season 4 because it's on AMC, and it's one of those that they don't stream it elsewhere.
Right. It
until,
doesn't until it's all
later.
out. Not even when it first is all out.
Right. It's still, there's a lag time.
Yeah.
And so by the time that came around, I felt like I had to rewatch.
I hate that. I know.
And I couldn't remember everything that was happening. And then I finally got through all of that, and I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this next season. And then I had that terrible feeling where you're like, have I already seen this? Because it seems so familiar. And I don't think it has. I think it's just that,
just
there's a lot
familiarity.
of flashback and flash forward and flash sideways. And
You're just dizzy. That's what it is.
Exactly. It's like, what time, where are we at? What's his name now? Because he has a different name.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's one of those that I know that I want to watch it. I am going to watch it, but
You gotta feel it. You
just
feel
gotta
it.
feel it.
I don't know. I'm that way.
yeah. Sheesh. And then there was a season 2 of an Amazon Prime show called Upload, which the first season.
Oh yeah.
I kind
had
of
to
watched
think about
it.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no, I kind of quickly, went through it, and it was like
It was cute.
a COVID home time watching experience, and so then they came out of season 2. I hadn't been on my radar or thinking about it at all, and so I put that on, and
Yeah. That was, I feel like, kind of by the end of that season, I was like, all right, I got what I needed from you. Okay, so good to know I'm not missing anything.
No, it tries to be off the wall, but
It's not. I mean, well, I don't know.
And it's
that
kind
was
of-
not the personality, at least.
Did you ever see the show Eureka? It's
No.
about-
Isn't it like a neighborhood or something?
Yeah, it's like a hidden neighborhood or town in California where it's all populated by geniuses,
Okay.
and they are like it's a government kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Is it HBO?
No, it was on maybe Sci-Fi or something
Okay.
like
I
that.
know I've seen it,
It had to have been
advertised.
15 years ago because my nephew liked it when he was a kid, and so I ended up watching all of that. But it kind of reminds me of Upload, in that it's you can tell that it's not real high budget, and the actors are not
Maybe they're top
stars
choice.
yeah,
And
and it's not bad. It's just a little bit throwaway-ish.
a little off. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So
That's a good way of putting that.
yeah. Could be left.
Yeah, I'll
aside.
skip
Until
it.
you're super duper bored.
I'll
and you
skip
really,
it,
really
yeah.
want it. Let's see. Now this is also one that has multiple seasons, but I haven't seen it, and that's Yellowstone. Everybody
loves it.
Everybody is talking about this show.
Yeah.
Which
Shannon
usually...
and Moxie always looking for their Yellowstone.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know that.
I think so. I think it's Yellowstone.
Oh, I'll have to talk to her about this. But I just started it, and it's Kevin Costner, yes, as a landowner. And is it in Wyoming or somewhere?
Don't quiz me
somewhere
on this.
Like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
I'm getting confused because I have another show that I do want to talk about. Similar setting.
Okay, interesting.
But yeah, it's about this super duper wealthy family because they're cattle ranchers, and then they butt heads with the government, and then the reservation. And it's also I can see that it's like a drama thing, but it is a little bit like a network drama feel to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll give it a chance. And then there's another show that stems from that. I think it's 1873.
My dad was telling me all about both.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's
So
interested
he's a
in
fan?
this new. Well, I'm not clear on how much he's seen of both, or if he's just interested in seeing them. I was clearly zoned out a little bit when he was.
I was interested, which is what you're doing right now.
No. It's different when when it's my boss versus my dad. Just kidding.
I'm gonna lord that over him.
He knows. He knows. Bless him.
But so I think that I saw 1873. I was like, ooh, I should watch that. And then I thought, well, I mean, if it's an offshoot of this other, maybe I should watch that too.
Right.
So I thought I'll go in order this time.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I've just seen a few episodes.
Yeah.
But there is an intriguing Western that there's only 2 episodes out. Also on Amazon, starring Josh Brolin.
Oh.
It's called Outer Range.
I did see that advertised.
Yeah.
Is it good?
So far, yes.
What's it about?
It's Josh Brolin plays the grizzled landowner, rancher guy in Wyoming or wherever it is.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Hence my total confusion.
Yeah.
But in it, it's kind of set up where he's got 2 sons, grown sons. They're living at home. His wife is played by Lily Taylor, who I love. And neither of them...
Hold on, who's Lily Taylor? Why am I...
She's like an indie queen. She's done lots of indie movies, and she was in an HBO movie that series that I really liked.
Lily Taylor. Yes, okay, I recognize her, but I can't think of what I've seen her in.
Yeah, she's
Mystic
she's
Pizza.
Great. That was like her big break.
Say anything? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So she started back then, but neither of them seem to be old enough to have 2 grown.
I was about to say,
children.
do you think his sons are single? Or I'm kidding. I'm not. So
reminder. So I don't really know how much of it to describe, but so the older son has a daughter also, and they're all living together in this ranch house, and like a little girl. And his wife has sometime previously, a few months or something, had disappeared.
Oh, okay.
And
the son's wife?
The son's wife.
Got it, okay.
And so they're all kind of struggling. The younger brother is like a hard partying guy. So there's some drama there, And the Josh Brolin character is the dad, and he's sort of tall, quiet, silent type.
Silent rancher type.
Yes, exactly. And he's riding the range one day and comes across this big round hole.
I was like on the edge of my seat. I was like, comes across big, just round,
a void.
Oh.
And so it's like a perfect circle, like, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 feet across. It's hard to tell, but it's big.
Giant hole,
and there's something supernaturally looking about it.
Did
but it's mostly just
not
looks like
see this coming.
No.
Okay, cool.
And so he like, like looks in it and tries to like. There's something weird about it, but he drops things in there and don't ever hear
Can't
it.
hear,
like,
yeah.
And so I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Seems
And
like
then-
wife could have found her way into this hole, potentially. Okay, yeah,
Who
yeah.
knows? But like it's only 2 episodes, and it kept me guessing. I did not expect most of the things that have happened.
Yay!
There were a couple of moments where I was angry at the characters for how they responded,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
That's
No, I know
not
what you mean.
bad enough that it was.
Turned it off.
Yeah.
Because sometimes,
Sometimes it can be.
yeah.
But no, it was just sort of like, why are you letting them do that to you? You don't need to do that.
Yes,
It doesn't make
yes,
sense.
Yeah. Like for the sake of the story, maybe kind of thing. Well, I'm annoyed that I'm hearing about this today because I was sick the last 2 days. And Monday I didn't really watch very much TV, but yesterday afternoon I was like binging. And I finished the show I was watching, and it was a drought after that. I tried watching, I tried starting so many things. So on our recently watched or continued watching, it's just like a bunch of like quarter of the way through watched episodes
I
of
hate when that
movies.
happens.
I was getting so frustrated, so I'll have to turn that on.
It's worth it.
Nick's studying for finals, so I'm like on my own.
It is something.
Cool.
Anyway, so other than that, let's see. I did have a couple of those that I started that I did not finish. And one of those was The Girl from Plainville. And it's Elle Fanning.
I almost
that's in
started
it.
that, but I kind of felt like it was going to make me mad because that story made me so mad.
Exactly.
And that girl's smug face makes me so mad.
Yes. So it's about this girl played by Elle Fanning, whose mom's played by Chloe Sevigny, which is again a
yes.
mom. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you get older.
Yes.
Everybody becomes moms and grandmothers. And so, but she plays the real life girl who texted her boyfriend and encouraged him to kill himself.
Yes.
And he did.
Yes.
And so it starts with that, and like she's the girl from Plainville, I guess.
Yeah.
And it shows her like talking to her friends, like before they know anything about it, before they know her involvement at all.
Yeah.
She finds out that this has happened, and we know because we know the story,
Right.
is milking it for all it's worth, like crying and
Like
talking to her friends about this
leading
guy.
searches, or not really, but just that
That
kind of behavior.
yes.
Yeah.
So she calls her 2 friends over, and they're like, "Who is this guy?" Like this is not even somebody that
She was in
she
love
had been
with
talking
long
about.
term.
And it is disturbing, and I don't want to watch it. So
Yeah.
I turned it on, and I watched
That's-
partial first episode.
All right, well.
It got to that point where she was like digging in her closet to find what she was going to wear to the funeral, and I said, "Okay,
No.
yeah."
Okay. At least I
wasn't
thought that
curious
one
enough.
through, because, not like saying like you didn't, but I had that, I almost started it. I mean, I was like a second away, and I was like, I already know.
No, that's just a big.
Because
no.
I remember reading about it in the news when it happened, and I was so mad.
Yeah. No, just anyway. So on that
Skip
note,
that.
yeah, don't. I mean, she does a great job, and there's great actors in
Yeah.
it. So if that's your jam,
Yeah.
go for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't in the mood for that.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much it. I think
I
have some other
one
things. Oh, good.
Good one that I watched yesterday. I mentioned it to you earlier. On Netflix, brand new series called Anatomy of a Scandal. Sienna Miller is the star, and I cannot remember. I just call her Mary Crawley from Downton Abbey. I don't know what the actress's name is, but anyway, they're the 2 leads, and it's really good. There's an affair that, it kind of just starts off as like a politician having an affair with a younger woman kind of thing, but then it kind of goes on, and you learn about these people's like history and their time at Oxford. And
is this like are there other, is like a series of others that are like that?
I don't know, but it's based on a book, which I had not. I know, because that sounded so familiar to me. I didn't know if I was thinking of like Notes on a Scandal or something,
or
like
an Anatomy of a Murder.
Yes. Like if I was, I couldn't figure out, and then at the beginning it said that it was based on a novel, and I was like, I bet I've just seen this novel somewhere. So anyway, it's 6 episodes and it's quick, and it's not uplifting at all, but it's intriguing and ends on a quote unquote good note, the best note it could end on. I think
I will definitely.
I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah. Anyway,
well, on that note, that's a much better note to leave it on than that other.
The girl from Plainville. Get out of here. Right. Anyway, Anatomy of a Scandal. Watch it.
Yes. And next time I'm going to talk about some movies, because I don't watch movies anymore.
Like I haven't watched a movie in a long time.
Yeah. I've watched a few, and I have a few on my list that I'm going to watch between now and then.
Fun.
So we'll talk about some movies.
Cool. Hooray.
And we'll talk to you then.
Next time. Bye.